Hello and welcome to another exam paper walkthrough. Today we're looking at a past paper revision series, and the specific year that we're looking at is November 2020, and we're going to be doing paper 1F. Attached to the description to this video you'll find a link to a Google Drive where you can download a copy of the paper. I would recommend you've either done the paper prior to the video or do it alongside the video. I'd also recommend some music on in the background. If you find this video useful, please do subscribe. Okay then, question 1. So we're looking at write the following number in size order, starting with the smallest. If we're ever ordering decimals, just to make it dead simple, I tend to add additional zeros just to make them all the same decimal value. Then I just view it in terms of thousandths in this case. So 320,000, 420,000, 350,000, and so on. And then it just makes it easier to spot the smallest, 0.309. Followed by my next smallest is 0.32, write it in the original form. Then we've got 0.35 followed by 0.4. Okay then, question 2, here's a list of numbers. Write the list, from the list write down the multiples of 3. So multiples of 3, basically their digits need to add up to a multiple of 3 as well. So we're looking at 18 as our only one there. Okay, question 3, write 4.666 correct to the nearest whole number. Nearest whole number then, is it close to 4 or 5? It's close to 5, so 5. Question 4, write 3 over 4 as a decimal. Well, how you view it, it's a quarter or 0.75. I wouldn't really go into any more detail. You could do it as a division if you needed to. So 4s go into 3.00. 4s don't go into 3. 4s go into 30 fully 7 times. With 2 left over, 4s go into 25 times. So if you need to do it as a division, you can. But you should pretty much recognise 3 over 4. Question 5, write down the value of the 7 in the number. So we're looking at 700. You could write that in words. I tend to just 700. Okay, question 6. On the probability scale, mark across the probability that the spinner will land on a C. Well, we've got half of them are C's, so we've got a cross at a half. On the probability scale, mark across the probability that the spinner will land on a D. We got no D's, so that's going to be 0. Okay, question 7. We've got part of a pictogram. Incomplete pictogram shows information about the number of eggs sold in a farm on Monday. Use this information to complete the pictogram and the key. So if we've got in effect 1.5 is equal to 18. So each circle is going to represent 12. So in my key equals 12 eggs. So 24 eggs is going to be 2 full circles. And 27 is going to be 2 full circles, which gives me 24. I'll need an extra 3, is it? Yeah, I need an extra 3. Well, if this is 12, each quarter is going to be 3. So I need to draw a quarter. Is that the only part to that question? It is. Right, question 8. Write down the coordinate of point A. Point A, we always give our x coordinate first of all, so that's going to be the coordinate 2, 3. Write down the coordinate of B. So B is a bit more tricky to spot. That's at 0, -1. On the grid, mark across the point -2, 1. So -2, 1. -2, 1 would be that point there. Does it say label it? It label this point C. Okay, question 9. A bag contains red counters and blue counters only. The number of red counters to the number of blue counters is 3 to 4. Write down the fraction of red counters. So we've got red to blue. I always have to make sure I've got my ratios set up a little bit more visually for me. So we've got a total of 8 parts in the counters. 7 parts. So the fraction that are red would be 3 out of 7. And then write the ratio 12 to 120 in the form 1 to n. So we're going 12 to 30, and we want it in the form 1 to blank. So we're going to have to divide by 12 here. So we'd have to divide by 12 here. 30 divided by 12. Can set it up like that if we wanted to. It's going to be the same as 6 into 15, which is going to be the same as 2 into 5. So 2 is going to 5 fully twice with a half left over. So it's 2.5 or 2.5. 1 to 2.5. Okay, question 10. Jenny has 12 marbles. A quarter of the marbles are large. The rest of the 12 marbles are small. Each large marble has a weight of 70 grams. Each small marble, 50 grams, work out the total weight. So we've got, in effect, we want to do a quarter of 12 times by 70 plus 3/4 of 12 times by 50. So quarter 12 is going to be 3. So 3 times by 70, and 3/4 of 12 then is going to be 9 times 50. 3 times 70 is going to be 210. 9 times 50 is going to be 450. So my total weight is going to be 660 grams. Okay, question 11. Reflect the shape of the mirror lines. So I tend to go for a habit of counting squares. So this point here is 2 squares away from the mirror line, so it goes 2 on the other side. This point is 3 away, so it goes 3 away. This point here is 4 away, so it goes 4 away. So that's going to be my reflection. For question 12, diagram shows a number machine. What would the output be when the input is 7? I tend to draw on my function machine. So if I put 7 in, I'd get 14 out at this point. Minus 3, I'd get 11 as my output. Going in reverse, then I'll change pen colour, but I'll follow the same process. So in effect, I've got 41 coming out, minus 3, so I'm going to add 3. So I've got 44 there. And then instead of timesing by 2, divide by 2, 22. Okay, question 13 then. Okay, if I want the bounding of B from A, so I'm measuring from A, and in effect I want the bearing of this line. To know the most direct way I can show you that is with this semi-eye protractor. So if I put my protractor at the centre and I'm measuring from the north line and I'm measuring this angle here, I'll make that angle pretty much bang on 25. So if I'm giving that as a bearing, I would quote that bearing as 0.25. So bearings have to be 3 figures. So what I've just done there is measure that angle there as 25 degrees. So my bearing is 0.25. For the second part, work out the work out the real distance of A from B. So I need to measure that length there. So when I measure that line, I make it as 5 centimeters. If I'm using a scale of 1 to 25,000 centimeters, so that means 1 centimeter on the map represents 25,000 centimeters in real life. So that would be 1 centimeter represents 250 meters. So 1 centimeter represents 0.25 of a kilometer. So 5 centimeters is going to represent 1.25 kilometers. And there'll be a range of errors for that answer. The mark scheme says allow anything between 1.2 and 1.3. Okay, question 14. So we've got a fairly nice two-way table. We're given some information. Okay, so information from the table then. We've already got the 30 added here. 11 of the 20 students said swimming, so female students swimming 11, and then we've got that 20 added already. 2 of the male students said tennis, so tennis and male, we've got 2. 5 students said cricket, so we can put 5 in there. That's the processing mark for just entering information from the table. Our next stage is using one level of information, work out some other missing values. The ones that we can do is we can do the 10 here, because 30 minus 20 would give us 10. The next piece of information that I can enter, struggling slightly. There we go. The number of male students who said cricket was the same as the male students who said swimming. So we've got 8 to split evenly between here, so it's got to be 4 and 4. Meaning my missing value here is going to have to be a 1. My missing value here is going to have to be an 8. We're going to have a 10 here, and then finally 15 here. I can double check that 15 in 2 ways. I can either check it vertically using that total, or I can check it horizontally using those values. Okay, question 15. Jamil makes a drink by mixing 1 part orange squash with 9 parts water. He uses 750 milliliters of orange squash. Jamil is going to put the drink he mixes into 1 litre bottles. Work out the greatest number of 1 litre bottles. So we've got orange squash to water. We've got 1 to 9, and we know that he's going to use 750. So we need to work out, we can do this in a couple of ways to be fair. Basically we've got 10 parts. If we know that 1 part is going to be 750, then 10 parts is going to have a total of 7,500. If he's going for litre bottles, so 7,500 divided by 1 is going to be equal to 7.5. So the greatest number of bottles that he can fill is going to be 7. He is going to have some left over, but he can't put that in a full bottle, so we're just looking at 7. Okay, question 16. For question 16, we've got table gives information about the number of points scored by 16 players in a game. Tina works out the median number of points scored to be 5. Explain why this is not possible for the median to be 5. So we've got 16 games. So if we've got 16 games, technically the median is going to be in the divided by 2. The median is going to be the 8th and 9th value. So you're looking for where the 8th and 9th value fall. The first value is 0 or less. The first 4 values are 1 or less. The next 5 values are 2s. So the 8th and 9th value are both 2. So you could state that the median is actually 2. Alternatively, you could just give a logical argument about this. So you could give a logical argument about it, and you could say, for the median points to be 5, the maximum point is only 4. Max score is 4. So median can't be above. That would be absolutely fine. So I've given you the actual way that you would work out the median, and then I've given you the argument, the logical argument. As the maximum score is 4, the median can't be above 4. Tina also works out the total number of points scored by the 16 players. Here is her working. 0 times 1 plus 1 times 4 plus 2 times 5 plus 3 times 4 plus 4 times 3 is equal to 1 plus 3 plus... Tina's made a mistake. Describe the mistake that Tina's made. So Tina's mistake is 0 times 1 it's not letting me write for a second. So Tina's mistake is 0 times by 1. 0 times 1 is equal to 0, not 1. So that's the mistake that Tina made. 0 times by 1 is 0. It's not equal to 1. So again, on Monday I did 400 times by 9/10, which gave me 450. On Tuesday I said 450 times by 0.8 would be 360. So I finished it with a yes, he will have £40 spare. Okay, question 19. So work out an estimate. So in an estimation questions, you'll never get anything for going more accurate than one significant figure. So I treat this as 800 times by 300 divided by 50. How you do that is completely up to you. I would probably knock my 0 off there and then say 30 divided by 5 is 6. So that's going to be equal to 800 times by 60. 8 times 6 is going to be 48 with 3 zeros. So I would go 48,000. So over here I've done 30 divided by 5 is 6, not 60. So 4,800. There we go. Okay then, question 18, expand. So x times by x would give me x squared, and then x times by minus 4 would give me minus 4x. Factorize, put into brackets, so 5 open bracket, 3y minus 2. And then solve. So I would divide by 7 first of all, so f minus 5 is equal to 4. And then add 4, so f is equal to 9. Okay, question 20 then. The first 5 terms of an arithmetic sequence are, write down an expression for n for the nth term of the sequence. So we've got the numbers are going up by 3 each time, so we're going to have a 3n at the start of our sequence. And then what do we need to the number 3 to get to the number 1? We would minus 2. So that's going to be my nth term, 3n minus 2. Okay, so question 19, show that, and then you've got 2 mixed fractions are equal to another mixed fraction. So we need to convert these into improper fractions. So 2 times 3, or the whole number times by the denominator plus the numerator, gives us 6, 7 over 3, times by 3 times 4 is 12, plus 3 is 15 over 4. You can multiply numerators, multiply denominators together, and then simplify. I like to simplify first, though, so I would say that 15 and 3 have a 3 in common. Once there, and 5 times there. 7 times 5 is 35, and then 1 times 4 is 4. 7 goes into 35 fully 8 times with 3 left over, which is what I was asked to show. Okay, question 22. Types of graph. We've got a reciprocal, a negative cubic, a positive cubic, and a quadratic. And then we just asked to link them up. So the negative quadratic was graph B, positive quadratic was graph C. Negative cubic was B, positive cubic was C. The quadratic was D, and then the reciprocal was A. So B, C, D, A. Okay, for this one, question 23. This is a bit of a nasty-ish question. Only 2 of them are congruent. Write down the letters of the 2 congruent. None of the information directly tells you any are congruent. So what we need to do is actually look at this missing angle. So that missing angle, angles in a triangle need to add up to 180. So that missing angle must be 80. And then likewise here, that missing angle must be 55. And then we've got 2 angles and the included side. 2 angles and the included side. So that would be triangle A and D. Okay, on to 24. Sean pays £10 for 24 chocolate bars. He sells the 24 chocolate bars for 50 pence each. Work out his profit. So the money that he made, first of all, 24 times by 0.5 or times by 50, and then divide by 100 if you want. So he made £12. He paid £10, so he made a £2 profit. So £2 out of £10 is a 20% profit. And question 25. We've got to work out the size of EAB, so we need to work out this angle here. I'm going to call it X just for now. Given each reasons for each stage of your working, so I'm going to work out this angle here. I know that this is what's called a co-interior or supplementary angle, so they need to add up to 180. So I'm going to say that angle BCD is going to be equal to 180 minus 148, so it's going to be equal to 32. And the reason is it's a co-interior or supplementary angle. Co-interior angle equal 180. And then I'm going to say that now that I know that that angle there is 32, I've got angles in a triangle. So EAB is going to be equal to 180 minus the sum of the other 2 angles, 63 plus 32. So that's going to be 180 minus 95. So that's going to be 85. And the reason for that is angles in a triangle. Triangle equal 180. Okay, question 26. Compare the distribution of heights of the boys. So we've got information about girls given in terms of a table, information about boys given in terms of a stem and leaf diagram. Compare the distributions. So I'm going to add to the girls a range. So the range is 170 minus 150. So the girls have got a range of 20 centimeters. I'm going to include an extra bar to my table where I'm going to put the boys' data in. So the least height for the boys is 158. The greatest height for the boys is 182. And the median for the boys, if we've got, how many, does it say 15? So the median is going to be the 8th value. Median is 8th value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the median for the boys is 168. Two comparisons then. Compare the range, compare the median. So you can obviously have the opposite version to either statement. So girls have a lot smaller, range for the boys then is going to be 182 minus 158. 24. So girls have a smaller range. And in my statement, I tend to state what the two are. So 20 versus 24. That's my first statement. The opposite statement is also true. Boys have a larger range. That would be fine as well. And then if you compare the medians, girls also have a smaller median. Girls have a smaller median. And again, I will state the two values, 165 versus 168. That's my comparison. One comparison on the mean, one comparison on an average, in this case median, one comparison on the range. Okay, question 27. Diagram shows a prism placed on a horizontal floor. The volume of the prism, the height of the prism is 3. The volume of the prism is 18. The pressure on the floor due to the prism is 75 newtons per meter cube squared. Work out the force exerted by the prism on the floor. Well, the volume of any prism is going to be equal to the surface area, the area of the face, times by the length of the prism. So in this case, 18 is going to be equal to the area times by 3. So the 6 is going to be equal to the area. So the area of in this case, it looks like a octagon, a hexagon. But the shape doesn't particularly matter, and we know that the area must be 6. If I rearrange this to find force is going to be equal to pressure times area. So in this case, 75 times by 6. I know in my head that 75 times 2 is 150. 150 times by 3 is going to be 450. And question 28. Write these numbers in order of size, starting with the smallest. So you could convert these all into normal numbers. I tended to convert them all into standard form because this one is fully in standard form. This one isn't. This one needs to be times by 10 to make it a number between 1 and 10. So we would say that that is 6.72 times by 10 to the minus 3. This one would need to be times by 100, so it would be 6.72 times 10 to the 6. And this one would need to put the decimal there, so 6.72 times 10 to the, we need to move that 1, 2, 3, 4 places, so minus 4. Now they're all in standard form number, we can just order them using the power. So my smallest number here is minus 4, so 0.000672. My next smallest in the list is this one, which started out as 672.2 times 10 to the minus 4. My next smallest one is this one, so 6.72 times 10 to the 5, leaving my final one 672 times 10 to the 4. There we go, that's them fully ordered. Okay, and question 29, given that A over B is equal to 2 over 5 and B over C is 3 over 4, find A to B to C. So if this is given like this, it effect means that we can set it as a ratio as 2 to 5. And then B to C, I'm going to introduce this here. B to C, 3 to 4 means 3 to 4. It's our middle one that we're going to combine and make them both 15s. To do that, I would times the first fraction by 3, so that would become 6. And I'd times the second fraction by 5, so that would become 20. So 6 to 15 to 20. Nice direct route for that. And question 30 then. Make Q the subject. So I need to rearrange to make Q the subject. To do that, I'd minus 7 from both sides. So P minus 7 is equal to 6Q. Divide both sides by 6. That gives us Q is equal to P minus 7 divided by 6. And for the second part, fully simplify. We multiply the powers, so that would become M to the minus 2 times minus 3 becomes 6. And that brings us to the end of the paper. This is the skills map for that paper, which can be quite useful in terms of selecting the topics that you need a little bit of extra work on. So that there's 30 questions and 30 topics. What is quite useful also is this mean score per question. It kind of identifies which are the hardest questions, which is quite interesting. And you've also got a breakdown of how various students scored on that. The grade boundaries for this paper. This is paper 1 of the foundation tier. So the suggested is you need at least 9 marks for a 1. Not suggested the actual grade boundaries because this is a past paper. You needed 9 marks for a 1, 21 for a 2, 33 for a 3, 45 got you the 4, and then 55 got you that magical 5. I hope you found this video useful. Please feel free to add any comments or questions into the chat. Other than that, thank you for your time and subscribe if you like.